Sales of electric cars in China continue to rise. We now have sales data from the month of August. So Tesla, BYD, NIO, XPeng, Li Auto, Zeekr. Here's how many of those vehicles from those brands were sold in August, which gives us an idea of where they're heading as a company. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. And just for some context here, guys, I've ordered an XPeng G6, and tomorrow I'll be going to actually do a proper test drive on the Australian version. Now, there's some test drives you've probably seen out there from Australian media, mainstream media, big media. They're all kind of ridiculous because they tested the European version, which won't be on sale here in Australia. That's the dual motor version. It's actually quite different to the Australian version, which I'll be testing tomorrow. So there'll be a video up very, very soon on that. Now, if you want to actually get a free car charger, you can place an order. You get a free car charger if you use my link. I'm not profiting from this, but they're just giving me a bit of an incentive to give you guys car charger and free installation. So I'll put a link in the description to where you can make an order for the XPeng G6. BYD, they had a record number of deliveries, 373,000. Intriguingly though, BYD's growth has been only really plug-in hybrids. BYD's EV sales rose only 2% versus the same month 12 months ago, whereas some of its rivals, their EV sales grew significantly. But BYD's plug-in hybrid sales have grown by around 75%. Anyhow, either way, BYD, record number of sales for the company, which is really, really good for them and good for their global expansion. But remember, the BYD's global expansion is primarily based on their EVs. They're the main cars they're selling outside of China. So hopefully we can see some EV growth from BYD. They have just bought out their distributor. They had a distributor in Germany. They bought them out. They want to do it themselves. And I think that's a good move. Be like Tesla. Do it yourself if you can. If you're big enough, if you're BYD, I mean, they're massive. They should do it themselves. I don't think they need distributors. And I think they felt like their distributor in Germany wasn't doing them any justice. They were selling the cars for too high of a price and potentially kind of, not giving customers the experience they wanted. So anyway, BYD headed in the right direction. Really good numbers from BYD. The BYD Seal is selling extremely well. The Seal was a bit of a complete flop in China for the first 6 months after it came out. And then when it started being sold overseas, people in China were like, hang on a minute, actually, maybe this car is good. And they started buying it in China as well. So sales have increased by about 400% since the first 6 months of deliveries. Growth has been massive for the BYD Seal. Now, NIO, they delivered 20,000 cars. So they delivered more than 20,000 for the fourth consecutive month, but their sales were a little bit lower than the previous 3 months. So 20,000, I think that's a good number for NIO. There's been a few rumors online in China about NIO going bankrupt. NIO is furious about that. They say that they are going to prosecute the people who made these rumors up. NIO, I don't think you can do that, mate. It's not the way the internet works. I guess it is China though, so who knows? NIO though, when it comes to the deliveries, to be fair, this is global numbers, 20,000 for a company been around a long time, many years now. They've got a lot of models. They do sell some good cars. I think they do anyway. If you look at them, their luxury, their specifications, their design, I think they all stack up really, really well. But they haven't really shown the kind of promise that was expected from the company. 20,000 sales a month, not that many if you put it into some context and compare it to, say, Tesla. So Tesla, how many sales did they have? Tesla sold nearly 87,000 Chinese-made Teslas in the month of August. So more than 4 times as NIO, but that's just from their China factory. Really shows, the brand power of Tesla because they only have 2 models. The Model 3 Highland is good, but it's not outstanding in terms of comparison to other EVs in China and prices. But then the Tesla Model Y, very, very dated in China. The truth is some of its rivals are significantly better when it comes to charging speed, when it comes to things like value for money that you're getting based on the size of that car. I mean, the XPeng G6 is much cheaper than the Tesla Model Y in China, but the Model Y is still selling incredibly well there. And like I said, brand power of Tesla is very, very strong in China. People used to say the same about Mercedes-Benz, Audi, Porsche, BMW in China, but Porsche dealerships, apparently more than half of them actually made a loss last year. The Porsche brand is not doing so well in China, and neither are those other brands I just spoke about. So The future, I believe, globally will be electric cars, and the question is, how good is your brand when it comes to EVs? That's more important than how good was your brand when it comes to making internal combustion engine cars. Very, very clear distinction in my mind there. Xpeng deliveries. Xpeng deliveries, very interesting here, guys, because in the months of October, November, December last year, Xpeng delivered 20,000 vehicles, a really good increase in sales. But this year, much slower sales. I think that's about to change drastically, considering from what I'm hearing, Xpeng have nearly 1,000 pre-orders here in Australia alone. G6, by the way, has gotten some really good reviews. And yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to taking delivery of that car. I think a lot of people are as well. A lot of people that email me saying I've ordered. In fact, I believe a couple of hundred might have done so based on the video that I made comparing it spec for spec with the Tesla Model Y. And the G6 is much better value. However, these sales are, in my opinion, still a little bit overwhelming for Xpeng, considering the incredible value for money. But they might be about to take a big jump, guys, I think. And the reason I say that is because they revealed the Mona 03. And that's basically a Tesla Model 3 size vehicle, but it has a like a hatchback at the back, so it's much more practical in terms of getting to that boot space. Similar specifications to a Model 3. You know, obviously the Model 3 Highland is probably going to have some things that are small things that are better, but in general, they're pretty similar cars, pretty similar range. The Mona 03, Xpeng Mona 03, is literally 16,000, I think 16,500 US dollars, the cheapest version. Half the price of a Tesla Model 3. They now, I believe, have 40,000 pre-orders. That's more cars than have been pre-ordered for any other car in China over the last year, except for the Xiaomi SU7, which had more than 100,000 pre-orders. Xpeng onto a massive winner there, and I think they're really kicking some goals lately. Obviously, they have that tie-up with the Volkswagen Group, which has given them much-needed cash and some stability. So, guys, I think Xpeng are going to do really well now that they've got all these pre-orders and they've got this, what's some really good brand positioning now that the people in China are going, oh, Volkswagen Group are buying into the company. They want to use your platforms. They must be good. That's what people in China, I think, are believing, and that's true. Zeekr deliveries. Zeekr had a really good month as well. It was down on the months of May and June, but Zeekr have been revamping their production lines. So they've been changing things, getting a new product ready. They shut down a few of their production lines, apparently, their factories. So this increase from Zeekr versus last month's pretty good number, 18,000 deliveries. Like I said, Zeekr, based on the month of June, grew 100%, about 101% versus the same time last year. And looking at this chart, you can see from CNF Post, you can see massive growth from Zeekr. They're the fastest growing EV brand in the world this year, and their growth is pretty staggering. You look at their technology in their EVs, look at the Zeekr 007, the Zeekr 009, compare their charging speed, compare the battery energy density, the range that they're getting, the technology of the motors, compare that to, say, BYD's electric cars. You can see it's a big difference. Zeekr's technology, Geely's new short blade battery is actually in their cars, whereas the BYD blade battery version 2, nowhere to be seen. Who knows where it is? And I think people are starting to think, well, hang on a minute, Zeekr, Xpeng, these guys, they're moving ahead, and BYD are really just bringing out a value product. Like the new BYD Seal, there's some new upgrades this year, the Dolphin as well, no changes really. In fact, the range was shorter. The charging speeds were pretty much on par, the same, whereas we're seeing Zeekr EVs now, some of them capable of 600 kilowatt charging. 600. And you can do that. In China, I've actually seen them in person charge in 10.5 minutes. Anyhow, incredible technology here. So they have the Zeekr 007, they have the 001, the Zeekr X, they have, of course, also the 7X. The 7X is a Tesla Model Y competitor. That's coming out very, very soon. And they also have the Zeekr Mix, which is like a sort of a direct competitor to the Volkswagen Combi, but I think it's much better than the Volkswagen Combi. It's being used by Google or Waymo as their robo-taxi. So Waymo retrofitted, put some of their own technology on it, and they're using that as their robo-taxi in the United States. Now, Leapmotor, their deliveries are record high, and they have just had a tie-up with Stellantis. So they own a joint venture partnership now with Stellantis. They're going to build a factory in Europe. Leapmotor, wow, look at their sales numbers. 30,000, just over 30,000. 30,300. That's an all-time record for the company. You can really see why Stellantis have bought into this company. They have been selling very good value electric cars. I've pointed this out on numerous occasions when I've done reviews of their cars, just how are they selling cars at these prices. Yeah, of course they're making a loss, but they're still making some incredibly good product, very good prices, and they are coming to Australia. So keep a lookout for that. But as you can see, growth here based on this month, 113.6% versus the same month last year. 113.6%. So you can see here, like I said, Leapmotor, other car companies, taking EV sales growth really seriously and doing incredibly well, whereas some of their rivals, Tesla down 6% and BYD up only 2%, whereas, like I said, Zeekr, Leapmotor growing fast. Xiaomi is another one. I mean, Xiaomi exceeded 10,000 vehicle sales for the third straight month in a row. Brand new car company. They're selling way more than Rivian or Lucid, who have been around for years. Xiaomi, on one model, the strength of one model, have more than 100,000 pre-orders, and they're delivering about 10 or 11,000 vehicles every single month. They can make one SU7 every 57 seconds using gigacasting. These are very large gigapress. I think it's a 9,000 ton gigapress, along with structural castings as well. And that means that their cars are lightweight, affordable to manufacture. They're only losing a small amount of money. I think it's might be about $10,000 per car, which is amazing for a brand new car company. And you've got to say, they are very, very scary. They have an electric SUV coming as well. Now, Li Auto deliveries were actually very, very good. They delivered 48,000 vehicles. As you can see, Li Auto sales growth over the last 3 months, they've delivered around 48,000 on average per month. I think it was 50,000 last month or 51,000 in July. Either way, 50,000 car sales per month, really good. They do have one electric vehicle. The rest of them are plug-in hybrids. The one electric vehicle is their electric van or MPV, which is actually very, very good vehicle. Hasn't sold that well because it looks like a coffin. That's what everyone in China says. You've got the coffin. You bought the coffin. Brilliant car. The reason they shaped it as a coffin is aerodynamics. They wanted to focus on aerodynamics above everything else. Kind of backfired. They invested huge amounts of money into what is actually a really good car, but because it looks like a coffin, people aren't buying it in the numbers that they had initially expected. But you can see here, though, guys, still big growth for Li Auto. Getting back to Tesla. Now, Tesla deliveries have really surprised analysts. I think all analysts said. I mean, even in China, they were saying Tesla was firing staff. They fired, a couple of thousand staff. Apparently, they were shutting down one of their production lines because there's not enough demand for Tesla vehicles. Well, that turned out to be a bit full of shit, to be honest. I mean, you don't make 87,000 vehicles in a month, which is, one of their best months ever, if those things are the case. I mean, how do they run these production lines unless all of a sudden Tesla bots are operating the production lines? They need people to do that. So I believe these kind of hoo-ha about Tesla was maybe potentially a little bit unfounded. These Tesla sales are really surprising considering old Model Y, everyone knows there's an upgrade coming. Model 3, good, but really, to be honest, not spectacular based on the fact that it's, say, double the price of the XPeng Mona 03, double the price, and it still sells really well. Tells you a lot about how XPeng doing that. I don't know how they're doing it, but whatever the case, China, this price war continues. The media might tell you it's on hold. It's not. It's a battle. And I'm telling you now, companies in China will have to consolidate. Look at XPeng. They're consolidating this joint venture with the Volkswagen Group. Leapmotor, same thing. Venture with Stellantis. Then we've got Geely, who own all these different car brands. So Geely are growing at a fast pace. Geely EV sales have actually grown faster than any parent company in the world this year. They're up about 100%. Anyhow, guys, what are your thoughts on these sales? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching.